and welcome to Technique and Practice with Inspiro Coral. My name is Anna Marie Ryan, and this posture video is going to provide you with a little trick for remembering which areas of the body we need to focus on the most when we're thinking about proper singing posture. So as a child, you probably learned the little song called Head and Shoulders, Knees and Toes, along with the actions to remember those parts of the body. Well, this is actually maybe not your favorite song, but a helpful way to remember what areas of the body we need to think about when we're trying to produce proper singing posture. So let's start with the head. The position of the head affects the shape of our vocal tract, which is why it's one of the most important areas of the body to think about. So the head should be in proper alignment with the shoulders. So we don't want the chin sticking out too far. We don't want to pull anything back awkwardly, but just a nice sort of relaxed posture with the head. The chin itself should be tilted slightly down, not extremely, because this is going to compress the neck muscles and put pressure here, and we also can't open our jaw properly in that situation. So just a slight downward tilt of the chin to keep this nice and relaxed to allow the larynx to remain low. If we tilt the chin upward, we get tension in the neck muscles, and we also will inadvertently raise our larynx. A lot of singers have the habit of lifting their heads when they're going for high notes, but this is actually counterproductive. The higher you sing, we should think about keeping a nice relaxed downward tilt, nothing pressed, but just a nice slight tilt of the chin, because this is going to allow for more freedom of production with our sound and keep the larynx nice and relaxed, which is necessary for high notes. So that's the head. We're going to keep it in proper alignment, not sticking anything out or pulling it in, and a slight downward tilt of the chin. One last thing with the head to remember is that if you have to turn to look at a conductor or look at the audience, don't just twist the head, because this is going to create tension by contorting these neck muscles, but instead turn your entire body to face the conductor. So if you're in a choir, you should turn your entire body and your choir folder to face your director instead of just tilting your head to look at them. The next area to focus on would be the shoulders, and I also consider the chest in this particular example. So the shoulders should be relaxed and rolled back. So they should not be curled forward, because if we curl them forward, this is going to collapse the chest and prevent proper expansion of the lungs. So just a nice sort of shoulder roll can help us to find that position. Most of us, especially if we sit at computers all day, tend to lean forward with our shoulders. So we just want to counteract that with a little bit of a backwards movement, but nothing too forced. Otherwise, we again experience tension. So just a nice relaxed roll with the shoulders. We also want to think about the sternum. So we're thinking about the shoulders and we're thinking about the chest, because that's connected. The sternum is our breastbone in the middle of the chest, and we want to have it slightly elevated, because if we allow it to collapse, again, if we allow the shoulders to come in and we let that breastbone tilt down, we are disconnecting ourselves from our abs, and we are also preventing proper lung expansion by collapsing our rib cage. So we're going to keep that sternum nice and tall, nice and high. You can imagine a string here. You don't want to necessarily overextend or puff out your chest, because again, this is causing tension, and it actually disconnects us from our core muscles, which are critical for breathing. So just a nice elevated sternum, but nothing forced, never any tension, and nothing collapsed. That's the goal with the chest. The next thing to think about, we've talked about head and shoulders and chest, would be knees. So the main thing to keep in mind is we don't want to lock the knees. Locking the knees involves an overextending where there's no flexibility, there's no buoyancy, and this has a number of consequences, including creating tension and not allowing us to take a relaxed breath. It can also lead to poor circulation. I've seen singers who have locked knees for long periods of time pass out if it's in the wrong environment in terms of just lighting and heat and nerves and adrenaline. So just keeping our knees nice and relaxed, and basically imagining that you're kind of grounded. And if you're grounded, you're feeling a little bit of connection to the floor, a little bit of buoyancy, and a relaxed, no tension in that joint. And then after the knees, we have the toes or the feet. You can also think of them as as one and the same. So head, shoulders, knees, and toes or feet. For the feet, we want to keep one foot slightly in front of the other. This is going to just help us to keep our balance straight and prevent us from swaying. If you have your feet exactly parallel to each other, then you might think about, or you might unconsciously sway side to side. So to prevent that, just offset your feet slightly. It doesn't matter which foot you have forward. We also want to distribute the weight evenly between both feet. So not allowing ourselves to maybe cock our hips and lean to one side, but keeping nice and straight and imagining that our weight is even on both feet. The weight should also not be distributed too far forward, or we're going to lean, and that's going to disconnect us from our breath, or too far backwards. So we always want to think of being centered on the feet. Again, one other thing to keep in mind is that we can create tension in our bodies if we do anything odd with our toes, like maybe we curl our toes unconsciously, or we just clench the feet really tightly when we're nervous, or if we want to get a good grip on where we're standing. That's going to be counterproductive. So just think about a nice relaxed sort of open posture with the toes and the feet so that everything is nice and flat on the floor. So to review, head and shoulders, knees and toes. So the head should be in straight alignment with the shoulders not tilting out or coming in. The chin tilted slightly down to avoid lifting the larynx, but not too far so we can still get proper jaw opening. Shoulders should be nice and rolled back, so we're not collapsing, but not overextended either, or else we create tension. Sternum should be elevated, just not pushed too high, but at a nice comfortable position, which allows for open lung capacity, so a nice big breath. Knees not locked, but nice and buoyant, and toes, feet slightly apart, and weight distributed evenly, both between the feet and also between the front and the back of the foot. So that's just a little helpful tip for remembering which areas of the body to focus on when you're trying to think about good singing posture. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you next time on Technique in Practice with Inspiro Choral.